Many indigenous companies and international oil companies, IOCs, have indicated interest in bidding for the 12 onshore and 7 deep offshore blocks put forward for sale by the federal government. 2023, why INEC servers failed to work. Peter Obi. 2023, why INEC servers failed to work. Peter Obi. And it comes with a rider that says attributed to the establishment of criminality. Presidential candidate of the Labour Party LP, Mr. Peter Obi Weekend, explained why servers belonging to the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) failed to work during the 2023 presidential election. According to him, the establishment of criminality made the INEC servers not work during the last general elections. Obi stated this while addressing the issues of the 2023 elections, including the IREP servers in Canada at the weekend. He, however, urged people to intensify engagement with all stakeholders to make the system work. Still looking at Vanguard. Kidnappers sleep off after abducting pastor's wife. Orders in Ondo. Kidnappers sleep off after abducting pastor's wife. Orders in Ondo. Aliko Dangote Foundation to faith leaders tackle malnutrition, hunger nationwide. Aliko Dangote Foundation to faith leaders tackle malnutrition, hunger nationwide. Okwama Ewu, refugees call off planned march. Employers labor angry over unending fuel scarcity. Employers labor angry over unending fuel scarcity. Power sector reforms. How managing director act with U.S. France. NNPP, Nigerian People's Party, cautioned the FG against military pacts with U.S. France. Lastly, we see here that economic hardship, massive contingency withdrawals hit micro pension funds. Economic hardship, massive contingency withdrawals hit my cover page that reads, FAN NSA moved to stop multiple checks at airports. FAAN, the Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria, and the National Security Advisor moves to stop multiple checks at airports to say to enhance passenger facilitation at airports across the country. And now, FG to reconnect 8 Sokoto local government areas to national grid after LGAs to national grid after a decade blackout. Nigerian Air Force airstrikes kill many terrorists in Borno, Niger. The North East and North Central. This was disclosed in a statement by the Director of Public Relations and Information, AVM Edward Gapquet, and he said the air components had continued to obliterate terrorists and destroy their structures, equipment, and mobility, thereby limiting them at will. We'll take a look at more stories here on Daily Trust. It says as well that family accuses military officer in Kano of killing son. Nigerian Air Force launches probe. Family accuses military officer in Kano of killing son. NAF launches probe. And lastly, we see here on Daily Trust that Benue demolishes 40 shanties. Benue demolishes 40 shanties. Taking a look at Leadership newspaper, cover page reads, Artificial intelligence, fear grips financial sector over data abuse theft. Artificial intelligence, AI, theft. Presidential aide, CSOs want AI assistance to the president on youth initiatives Titi Lokpe Badamosi has called for the adoption of technology, especially the artificial intelligence, for empowerment of youth and deepening of democracy in the country. Badamosi made the call at the 2024 close-out ceremony of the Accelerating Youth Participation in Governance Fellowship organized by PROMAD in Abuja with the theme Rethinking Youth Participation in Governance in the Era of Artificial Intelligence. I would also see here, looking at more stories on the Leadership newspaper, federal government to stop importation of vital drugs, enforce regulatory scheme. Federal government to stop importation of vital drugs, enforce regulatory. Implement the 5+5 regulatory scheme, which grants a last 5-year renewal to a company that imports medications that the country's pharmaceutical industry is capable of producing. And more stories here on leadership. It says here as well that Zamfara Group dismisses protest, and then FG states will review sentencing for suicide attempt. AGF. FG states will review sentencing for suicide attempt. AGF. We'd also see that Governor Buni approves development of 25-year master plan for Damaturu. Governors Wike over Arab sues governors billion for youth empowerment. And it's a cover story that reads, CDK Atiku accuses Tinubu of conflict of interest. Alleges songs FDI can't come through propaganda. Declares FDI can't come through propaganda. You'd find that on this thing newspaper. 3,000 barrel after any deal. Federal government's revival of local pharmaceutical industry will reduce costs of medicines. ACJHR accuses FG of prosecuting Emefiele over multiple trials. That is the African Center for Justice and Human Rights, ACJHR, has accused the federal government for Emefiele's trial on multiple charges across jurisdictions smacked of vindictiveness, stressing that when rights groups across Africa meet in a few days' time in Accra, Ghana, one thing that would shape their discussion is the ongoing trial of the former CBN governor. Apparently, the African Center for Justice and Human Rights is the sponsor of the annual conference of West African Human Rights Watch groups. On this same newspaper, you find the story. Also, Nigeria links up with 15 African countries to join Afreximbank's Fund for Export Development. Alleged marginalization is Shakiri Ijo Ilaje graduates threatened shutdown of Chevron facilities. Alleged marginalization is Shakiri Ijo Ilaje graduates threatened shutdown of Chevron facilities. FG's liabilities to retirees under contributory pension scheme hits 314.58 billion naira. The story you also see on this same newspaper that elusive gains of subsidy removal in the state. Elusive gains of subsidy removal in the state. This is actually a column written by Festus Akambi on This Day newspaper for today. And now we'll take a look at Nigerian Tribune. The cover story reads, Lagos government demolishes over 100 shanties at Adeniji Adele. Lagos government demolishes over 100 shanties at Adeniji Adele. Mele Kyari, David Umahi, and lessons in service delivery. Mele Kiari, David Umahi, and lessons in service delivery. Wema Bank commemorates alert at 7, Wema at 79. Over 61.08 trillion naira spent on food. Others as analysts decry minimum wage injustice. Over 61.8 trillion naira spent on food. Others as analysts decry minimum wage injustice. How Lagos PDP can achieve reconciliation pairs. We will support a wage increase if NECA. We will support wage increase if NECA. Would also see here as well that reputation of wife and IT disturbs to know that anyone could mindlessly cause his loved one avoidable pains, even as the ordinary Nigerian struggles to contend with the pangs of economic hardship caused by official policies ostensibly enunciated to reset the tottering economy. And it is also frustrating that despite unrelenting campaigns by the government and non-governmental organizations against domestic violence, some unscrupulous citizens seem to be set. Quickly, we'll take a look at the Nation newspaper before we call it the morning. And then the cover page of the Nation newspaper, government begins disbursement of 50 billion naira grants to small firms. Government begins disbursement of 50 billion naira grants to small firms. Beneficiaries of the federal government's fifth trade and investment, Dr. Doris Uzoka Anise, who confirmed this. According to her, 800,000 others will get their grants before the close of the program by May 31st, and this will bring the total number of beneficiaries to the targeted 1 million Nigerians spread across the 774 local government areas. You find that on the Nation newspaper today. Jagaban Apostles cautions Akintoye over Yoruba Nation agitation. Jagaban Apostles cautions Akintoye over Yoruba Nation agitation. Lagos declares shanties from Adeniji Adele Bridge will improve Nigerian lives. Minister confident government investment in health will improve Nigerian lives. Rise in non-performing loans stunted manufacturing. Africa Business Summit. IMF. Tough time ahead for borrowers despite inflation. Mourn ex-minister Gbagi. NECO digitalizes recruitment of exam supervisors. NECO digitalizes recruitment of exam supervisors. And lastly, Mascom scholar Akinfeleye pays emotional tribute to wife at maiden anniversary. The story you should find on the Nation newspaper. And quickly, before we take a quick break, the Guardian newspaper reads the cover page, wage increase, your government is deceitful, workers tell Tinubu. Despite the salary increment of between 25% and 35% for workers on the federal government's payroll, some civil servants in the country have come down hard on the administrations of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, describing it as lacking in conscience. Reacting to the development, level 12 officer in one of the federal ministries in Enugu State, Kingston Orji, stated that it was sad that the the current administration started from its first day in office as festered about 1 year after. You find that story on the Guardian newspaper. And then there's also the story of victims lose 17.67 billion naira to fraudsters in 2023. Victims lose 17.67 17.67 billion naira to fraudsters in 2023. And then we also see that police arrest mastermind of Abuja Kaduna train attack. Police arrest mastermind of Abuja Kaduna train attack. Nigerian gunmen killed 2,400 as cyclone approaches. Kenya floods, death toll tops 200 as cyclone approaches. These are the stories from across the papers this morning. The Punch newspaper, Vanguard, Daily Trust, Leadership, the Disney newspaper, Nigerian Tribune, Guardian, and The Nation newspaper. But right now, we'll need to go on a very quick break so that at the half-hour mark, you, our listeners, can call in and review the papers with us. Let us know your opinion. Let us know your thoughts. Let us know what it is that you have to say. You can call us on 0903 2229797 0903 2229797 or 0818 2222205 0818 2222205. And let's take a very quick break. When we are back here, we'll run across the stories and make a selection of what it is that we'll be reviewing this morning with our in-house analysts. So stay tuned. And yes, many thanks for staying tuned. I will be reviewing the papers alongside Mr. Salami this morning. And to our listeners, we implore that you call in on 081, pardon me, 0818 2222205, 0818-222-22205 or 0903-222979. So we'll take a look at says that Tinubu Atiku Abubakar, the People's Democratic Party presidential candidate in last year's general election. And now, Mr. Salami, sir, what do you make of the story, sir?
Very good morning to you, our Super Citizen listeners. And Lagos Calabar Coastal Super Highway and the alleged involvement of Sheikh Tinubu as a board member of Chaguri and Chaguri. Well, one thing I love about politicians is their uncanny ability to dig deep and bring out what they consider a propaganda material or a new material for them. Well, there was a time when quite many politicians were telling us that this Lagos Calabar Coastal Super Highway or highway was unnecessary, that it was a waste of money, it was this, it was that. At a stage it was agreed by the right-thinking Nigerians that it is indeed a good project that is in the best interest of the common Nigerian. Now, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, the presidential candidate of PDP, has come out to tell us that apart from the fact that the award of the contract was suspect, but that Sheikh Tinubu, the son of our president, is a director on the board of Shaguri and Shaguri, the company that was awarded the contract. It raises so many issues. It raises the issue of integrity. It also raises the issue of public of do more research, contract followed after our search. We must not dish out that Sheikh Tinubu is Sheikh Tinubu as the son of a president, the sitting president, has he the right to do business? Yes, he does. Has he the right to engage in contract? Yes, he does. Does he have the right? Yes, he does. In doing all this, the question should be, was he duly versions we should ask? But I must confess that being the president's son does not preclude you from doing legitimate business. Let us leave it at that for now.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Salami, for the of also 2222. And while still talking about highway, we see here as was this since 2021 that 80% of Lekki buildings have no approval, and this was said by the Lagos State government. Mr. Salami, how well do you think? What is your opinion of this, actually?
Well, to start with, you have no such right to build without approval. And if you build without approval, you should be ready for the consequence. But I think that the controversy over demolition and approval or no approval is such a matter that it should be looked into passionately. Why did I say this? We all know that our authority should not be taken into consideration. What do I mean? That a will-be builder or developer should, to a very large extent, do the needful before embarking on any construction. That is the right thing to do. That is the right way to go. And if you contravene the extant laws, you should be ready for the consequence of such contravention. That's the much I will say on that for now.
Okay, Mrs. Salami, thank you for that. Like you said, consequences berating this interventions definitely. And now there's another story on the Punch newspaper. Billionaire Arthur Eze says Nigeria will change after 8 years. Support Tinubu before we die. He has urged Nigerians to support President Bola Tinubu while praising his inclusive approach to governance. According to Arthur Eze, he said Tinubu has no boundary. If you go to Abuja, you will see Wike, an Igbo man, as a minister. Umahi is Igbo as minister. No boundaries. All the types of people we want. So this Nigeria, after 8 years, it will change. It's a fact that, Mr. Lamy, what is your own perspective to this?
You see, I love this stanza of our national anthem, the last one. Though tribe and tongue may differ, in brotherhood we stand. Yes, to support President Bola Ahmed Tinubu are many. Whether you like him or you don't like him, you must concede the fact that it is performing. Engineer Umuahi, the Honorable Minister of Works, is a performer. Of course, it was not of his ability and competence, and he has shown that by our standard, is a performer. Honorable Tuji Ojoy, the Minister of Interior, is a, and this is to tell you, Lame Tinubu has said that close marking, there must be consequence for non-performance, and that is why Nigerians should, as a matter of civic duty, hold government accountable, because it is our government and we must support the government. Ato Ise has said it all. He has spoken well.
Alright, Mrs. Salami, you've also very spoken well just now. And now let's even move to the story on the Vanguard newspaper. Kidnappers sleep off after abducting pastor's wife, orders in Ondo. It says that police detectives have arrested 5 suspected kidnappers who slept off after abducting a pastor's wife and 2 other persons. The suspects reportedly slept off after taking hard drugs. Vanguard gathered that the 3 victims escaped after the abductors slept off, and the suspects include 22.
This is a very, very revealing one. Revealing in the sense that it has so many connotations. Did they sleep off because of the hard drug, or because of the powerful prayers of the pastor whose wife they did abduct? These are some of the issues that we need to interrogate here. And again, we need to look at the ages of this suspected 5, 16, 22. Look at the ages of these suspected kidnappers. It speaks volume. If we agree that the youth are the future leaders of this country, and they are now engaging, and they are suspected kidnappers, they are suspected bandits, and are also engaged in other vices, Lydia, rape, my beloved country. It is really, really sad that we have found ourselves at this juncture. It is not only alarming the rate at which youth abuse drugs, but the concomitant effect of what they do, getting involved in kidnapping. Good a thing that they slept off. Good a thing that the abducted persons escaped. And good a thing that the long arm of the law has caught up or will catch up with them. At least good that they have been arrested. They should face the consequence. It is good that there must be consequence for any bad action. There must be punishment. They should be punished after they might have been allowed to defend themselves in a court of competent jurisdiction.
Well, you've clearly stated, something to be done, and I'm sure they're listening to us right now. The officials, the government is definitely listening, and something will be done because the age range has made power for a decade. The pledge came after the state governor Ahmed Ali raised the issue during the official visit of the Minister of Power Adilabu Adebayo recently. Mr. Salamisa, what is your opinion of this?
Federal government has pledged going. That is what as a blackout. This is as a matter of urgency and as a matter of priority. See to the welfare and well-being of the people. In actual fact, the first duty of any government is the welfare and well-being. If after 10 years it's still a pledge, please fulfill the pledge.
Okay, do fulfill the pledge, and I'm sure everything will, come back to normal. Because a decade is a lot to do with not having seen light or being able to use it. Before we call it a day, we have two more stories to review. And the first is the Nation newspaper. It says government begins disbursement of 50 billion naira grants to small firm free cash. Mr. Salami, what is your opinion of this?
It is a good development. It is a very, very good development if the disbursement of the 50 billion grant to small farms and nano business, and I think Nigeria intentional end.
Thank you very much. Since Akintoye, over take on this.
I will join the Jagaban supporters, even though I am not a card-carrying member and I don't intend to be a card-carrying member of any political party. But I want to say with all sense of seriousness that Professor Banji Akintoye should tread with caution. He should tread with caution. No doubt about the fact that he has his fundamental right of expression. But I will ask him some few questions. One, at what point in time did Yorubas meet and appointed him our spokesperson? Not only that, at what point in time did Yorubas tell him that yes, you have our mandate to speak about our need, our demand, that we are demanding as it is today is one. And it is in our interest that a small nation can play any big role in that country. It's work in progress. There's hope in being together. It is in our interest that we remain together. It is by forging the unity and concentrate that we can really enjoy this country. This is a great country. There is future in being together. There is hope in being together. And the greatness of most Nigerians depend on...
It's very much important that we all stand in unity. Like I say, united we stand and divided we 4. Thank you very much, Mr. Salami, for that. You've really done well with this morning's review of the papers, and I'm sure our listeners out there, for those who've tuned in, definitely agree with your opinion. It's also important to note that the opinions of our guests, of our in-house analysts, is not influenced by the station. And to our listeners, we implore that you call in. We can also hear what your thoughts are, and not just we. Hey, this is Citizen 93.7 FM, and we just had the newspaper review. And it's also important to say thank you to Mr. Salami for being here this morning and for reviewing the papers in the best way that he can. Thank you very much, sir.
It is a pleasure being here.
My name is Sean Smith, and until we meet again, to have a wonderful day. Coming up at 8 a.m. we'll have the big talk this morning. Do stay tuned and make sure to have a wonderful morning.